You can't get up.
I know the feeling.
Hi guys. How is it, this is for anybody or all, how is it that Gunter Glieben Glatschen Globen became the opening for your hit Rock of Ages? And is it true that it means absolutely nothing?
It means nothing, right? I'm going to stick my neck out.
It means absolutely nothing, but it was once apparently translated by some German guy as running through the forest silently.
Mike just got fed up of saying 1, 2, 3, 4 as he came to do it. So he started coming up with all these different counts, and that happened to be one of them.
When it happened and it was recorded and you heard it on the record, what were your thoughts? Was it, why are we doing this, or just go with it? I mean, you clearly couldn't have any idea that you were about to have this iconic open to a hit song that was on a record that was going to sell a cajillion copies or something like that. I mean,
What was good at that though? I mean, if you listen to a lot of more line-produced albums, there'll always be something on the front of the song. It's kind of one of his trademarks. And the actual count that we're referring to wasn't at the beginning of the song, it was actually in the song itself. Because a lot of Rock of Ages is very much the same key, and it's very easy to lose your place where the guitar should come in. And it was a count for that, actually in the first verse. And he just lifted it and put it at the beginning of the song when he was mixing it.
very good.
It was a key joke. Lasted a long time.
Castle Rock, Colorado. What a shock that like everybody for the Def Leppard Q&A is a woman. Thank God you guys didn't become a prop band. Everyone would be a guy coming up. Ellen Banker, Castle Rock, Colorado. Go ahead, Ellen.
Are you ever going to make the Bridge movie?
Oh, that's not up to me. I signed up for it, but they have to kind of get the funding and get the scripts done. But what they did is they picked the idea of the film before they wrote the film. And so it was me and Ricky Warwick and a few other musicians involved. If it ever happens, yeah, I haven't left it or said I'm not doing it. I'm just waiting for them to go, okay, we need you for 3 days, such and such, and then if it doesn't clash with our schedule, and they can afford first class airfare.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next up from Wesley Chapel, Florida is Cynthia Cordova. Cynthia, the floor is yours.
First of all, I want to thank you for
Hold that mic a little closer so everybody can hear you.
I want to thank you all for this amazing experience. How do you stay motivated and stay creative on the road for all these years? And I love you guys.
Well, we love what we're doing. We haven't written the perfect song yet. We keep trying to write the perfect song, trying to make the perfect album, trying to make the perfect show, tour. So there's always kind of a drive and ambition to kind of get that. And we love what we're doing. Plus we love each other, which is really love.
Personally, I'm scared shitless of going back to the factory.
That's right.
By the way, me doing this for all the decades I have, you'd be surprised how rare that is, that all the band members love each other. That's pretty darn rare. Anybody else, any personal challenges or motivational things that you want to share? Or
I personally don't see where it's even an issue, you know. You're a musician. Maybe there was a way of thinking in the 70s where most bands were 10 years and then they were done. But that's all the shelf life was. But it's become a career. That's, you know, you've got the Stones, you've got McCartney, you've got the Who, all hitting 50 years in the industry. It's not so unusual anymore. It was unheard of when we formed. The Stones were 13 years a band. You know, the Zeppelin was still together. I never saw it as like when you get to 35, it's time to knock it on the head. It's like McCartney wrote some fantastic songs in the last 10 years. I don't think your brain shuts down and you get worse. I actually think as a band, we've got better at what we do over the years. We keep on to better sugar and better rock images and photography. Whether we ever do is irrelevant. The fact that that's where we have to keep aiming at. We're like on a desert island looking over at mainland, and we've got to get there, and we keep trying.
We're on a desert island. We're just leaving it.
I know, it was a metaphor.
So no Def Leppard farewell tour anytime in the near future, right? That's good. Next question from Seattle, Washington. This is Pamela Woolman. Pamela.
Hi. Hi guys.
Hi,
This is
Pamela.
for all of you. Yes. I can see.
Smack one up.
Guys. I want to speak for probably almost everyone in here that your music has been the soundtrack of our lives. Bowie, the obvious. Who would be on your soundtrack? And do you have any fun stories to share what it brings you back to in time?
I mean, everyone's got different ones, obviously, you know, and some overlap, you know. So we all have a Bowie, you know, obviously, you know, and it's really strange when he passed away, you know, last week. It actually affected us a lot more than we thought it would because he was such a big deal in our lives, you know. So musically and otherwise, you know, I think I remember at 14, you know, I actually said this before, but when I heard Bowie, everything went from black and white to colour. Everything, you know, not just music, just his attitude and vibe and everything, and discovering it as a 14-year-old. So all of these different things, and I'm sure everyone's got a different story and a different person and everything, but yeah, for me it was definitely that.
Sav?
I think it's been well documented that I wouldn't be sat here today if it wasn't for a band called Queen. I mean, we've all got different opinions on you know, our favourite artists as we were growing up, and even still now. There's a few artists that there is a common thread within the band, and Queen or one of them, AC/DC, are probably it's more than that, but I guess we've always tried to walk that line somewhere between one or the other, or encompassing both. So yeah, I can't imagine life without Queen. I mean, even though Frank's not been with us now for so many years, it still seems like he's here whenever I hear any Queen song. It's, you know, it's just a constant inspiration just for me personally.
Well, for you, I know there's many.
I could be here all night.
But maybe just give, what's the one? What's the one for you? The one that started it all, set you on your path to want to be a musician?
Mark Bowen. Yeah, he started it. He didn't necessarily finish it, but he was a launch pad, if you like. It was a song called Ride a White Swan was the first song I heard. Then it was Hot Love, and then he really got me with Getting On, or Bang a Gong as it was called in the US. And then album Electric Warrior, and it just, you know, I mean, I listen back to it now and I totally get it that he wasn't great. He had his moments, his singles were fantastic, his albums were patchy. With Bowie, his albums were absolutely from start to finish. You know, for me, they were just one piece of work. I can't single out one Bowie song that I like, whereas I can single out a few Bolan songs, but between the two of those and Mock the Hoople and Queen, and then there's a lot of old little bands that nobody's ever heard of. People you're not allowed to mention anymore, like Gary Glitter.
That's a whole lot of conversation.
Yeah, that's another world. But Rod Stewart as well, and the Faces, they were phenomenal. You know, I liked a bit of slop, and I also like the tidiness of behind Queen. And then I really got into the punk stuff as well. I love the Pistols and the Clash.
Yeah.
So he took music from a very indulgent area and put it back into 3 minutes. Then there's no way that we ever sound like the Pistols, really. But the fact that Wasted was written in 3 minutes written as a 3-minute song with a short solo, was absolutely much more influenced by the Pistols than say by Uriah Heep or any of these bands that used to play 6, 7, 8-minute songs.
And you guys check out, I mean, in the US, unfortunately, T-Rex is known for one song, but there's so many great singles, as Joe mentioned, so you check out that music if you get a chance, it's great. Viv, you're number one.
It was bowling.
Oh yeah?
It was a Thursday night in the early 1970s, a show called Top of the Pops, and as I saw and heard Mark Bolan, and it changed my life. From that moment, I wanted to grow my hair and wear my sister's clothes. Unfortunately, I have a sister who's a year and a bit older than me, so that was easy. I went on her wardrobe. Okay, well, I can't wear the skirt. Spandex, that'll do. So Mark Bolan made me want to own a guitar, and then a couple of years later, experiencing Rory Gallagher made me want to learn how to actually play. So, and that was the first concert I saw, and the first album I had was actually Rory Gallagher live in Europe, '72. And I dropped the needle and I tried to emulate.
Just so you guys realize how big T-Rex was, again, unfortunately not in America, but there's this film called Born to Boogie that's amazing, and Ringo Starr actually directed the film. I mean, a Beatle actually, and Elton John plays with Mark Bolan. I mean, in the UK, T-Rex and Mark Bolan, as you can see from the influence on Leppard, was a whole other thing than the way it's viewed in America. Rick, go ahead.
Mark Bolan for me, but I don't have any interesting stories other than my mother knitted me this tank top. And the first time, you know, it ever got near water, it just, it was a complete catastrophe. But he was a huge influence. Another one would be, for me, AC/DC. Birthday at the Hammersmith Odeon. We were opening up for, Def Leppard were opening up for AC/DC. And I remember Bon Scott coming down with a big bowl of, we call them Smarties, but you guys call them M&Ms. We gave me this big bowl of M&Ms and wished me happy birthday.
Wow.
And of course you guys covered 20th Century Boy as well. Did a great version.
Yeah.
Next question is from Dick Stills, New York, and it is Michelle Lydon. Michelle.
Hello.
Hey, Michelle.
It's funny that you mentioned Spinal Tap before, because that's my question. For all of you or any of you, throughout all years of touring, have you ever had any Spinal Tap moments?
Getting
lost backstage, Walter.
We had one get in here in the elevator about 20 minutes ago. So yeah, every single day.
Every single day. Those guys absolutely nailed it. And not just from a rock aspect, across the board, you know, pop artists, they go through the same stuff. It wasn't just about heavy metal bands or anything like that. They absolutely hit everything bang on the head.
So much so that that's actually, as I just said when I was trying to find the curtain to come out, it's actually now become a term.
Yeah.
Actually say I just had a spinal tap moment. It's actually part of rock lingo. People actually, that's how accurate that film actually was. So much so that I know some artists when that film came out were actually upset by it because it was a little too close to home for them. But
I believe it.
I read an article where Tom Waits said he actually cried when he watched it because it was too close to his life. And that's Tom Waits. So rock bands are a lot easier to make fun of than Tom Waits is, sadly.
thank you for your question. I think we have one last question here. Oh, they're not here? Are they here? Oh, okay. From British Columbia, Chilliwack, British Columbia.
Yeah.
Making his way to the microphone. Wearing a Def Leppard shirt for the, is that for the new record? I'm not sure, but anyway, this is
2015.
yeah, okay. It's not a bootleg, right? Just one of the recipes. If you bought that in the parking lot from some guy who pulled it out of the knapsack, I didn't try to right off the ship, man. This is Steve Holt. How are you, Steve? Go ahead.
Good. So this question is for Rick Allen. You were 15 when you auditioned for Def Leppard.
Oh my
So
God.
where did that talent and all that drive come from at that age? You were already good when you auditioned, so it had to have been started very, very early.
I actually auditioned last, so I learned the parts pretty well. The original drummer came back, he wanted his job back. So he played, and then another guy played, left-handed drummer. And so I had to set the kit up for him. And then I actually auditioned last, so I knew the part. But I'd actually been in local bands from the age of about, the ripe old age of 10.
Wow.
And then at 14 I decided I was going to give up the business. Because I couldn't find anybody that wrote their own songs. And Def Leppard, I saw this article in the newspaper that said Leppard loses skins. It was fantastic. And my mum and dad, they encouraged me to call. Within days, I met with Joe and Steve at a local club called the Limit Club. And they always had problems. They always had problems with the plumbing there, so we were standing in there in about
2 inches of piss.
Oh, no. I remember it well.
It was all downhill from there, right?
It was. But I think just there must have been some natural talent there. But I got together with some really, really good teachers. One of them, a guy called Kenny Slade, he was one of the original drummers with Joe Cocker.
Oh,
I started
nice.
studying with him, and that really helped me. And then just playing in front of audiences, playing with local bands. I asked, my friend John got a guitar, and I came home and I said, Mom and Dad, can I have a drum kit? And it was like, no, we can't afford it. So it was great because we said, well, if you do some local jobs, washing cars and whatever you can, then we'll get a drum kit on a hire purchase, which is layaway.
Yeah.
And it was crap because it didn't have a floor tom. So I had to buy the floor tom later, and by that time all the blue ones had gone, so I had a red floor tom. It was crap. But it was, it was a blessing. It was my chance to shine. And then when I met these guys, there was no stopping us as a team.